You know I had to do it. Hey, don't at me. Absolutely. Hey, Jay, that you already know, Jay. You already know how it go. My God. Guess what? We're going to have different intro music every week now. Why? Because it's my show. I can do that. Welcome to another Gridiron Gains, everybody. I am your host, Tony the Tycoon. I am excited about tonight. Guess what? Tonight, we're not going to be that long. As you can see, we're starting a little late, so we're not going to be that long. But we got some things to say. So with that being said, let's get our words together. With that being said, episode 10, Gridiron Gains, we will be discussing mindset to metal, how beliefs drive athletic success. How beliefs drive athletic success. So here, listen, I got this thing so down packed, man. I got an opening statement for y'all before we jump into this. It's because I love y'all so much. I want to make sure that I'm organized, right? The Bible say do everything decently in order. I'm just trying to follow that. So with that being said, in the world of sports, belief systems are far more than just personal philosophies. They are powerful forces that shape an athlete's performance and overall success. Our beliefs influence how we approach challenges, set goals, and overcome obstacles. They determine not only our mindset, but also our resilience and our capacity to push beyond perceived limits. By understanding and harnessing the power of these beliefs, athletes can unlock their full potential and achieve extraordinary results. Now, guess what? Although I'm speaking to the athletes here because this is Gridiron Gains, listen, at the end of the day, this message can be for anybody, right? I want you guys to ask yourself the question, is my belief system doing well for me? Well, what do you mean, Tony, when you say, is my belief system doing well for me? It simply is asking, I'm simply asking, are you receiving the results that you want predicated off of the beliefs that you have? And that's the first question. The second question is this, and also, are these your beliefs? Or are these the beliefs that you've taken on from somebody else? Could that be a loved one, right? Mama, daddy, mama and them, grandmama and them, whatever. Is that your belief system? Or is that a belief system that has been passed down to you? That's what we're going to talk about today. That's what we're going to break into today. So first, before we do that, we have to get an understanding on what belief systems are, right? All right. So let's get a definition of belief systems. But before we do that, I also want to jump on here and see who we got on there. Rico, my man, appreciate you jumping on. David, absolutely. The Holt Christian, a.k.a. the sports image advisor, a.k.a. the influencer aficionado, right? Tristan, what's up, young fella? Good to see you. Just Valde, I hope I said that right. All right, so let's jump into it. What is a belief system? A belief system is a set of principles, so we have principles, values, and convictions that guide an individual's understanding of the world and influence their behavior and decision-making. There's a lot in there to unpack, right? So it encompasses deeply held ideas and assumptions about reality, purpose, and personal identity. Belief systems can be shaped by cultural, social, religious, and personal experience and play a crucial role in how individuals interpret experiences, set goals, and interact with others. So in essence, basically wrapping all of this up, a belief system provides a framework for interpreting and responding to various aspects of life, influencing both conscious choices and subconscious behaviors. That is a lot of big words. Let's break this down. Simply said, a belief system is your principles and your value system or your conviction, right? That guide you in how you operate in your day-to-day life, right? Which then ultimately moves you throughout your years, basically, right? So it's like your short-term goals and your long-term goals. And in order to accomplish those, you have daily activities. Those daily activities are a representation of your belief, right? Your belief basically is your identity. So it's not about what we say. It's about what we do. The good book says Talk no more exceedingly proud, for thy actions are weighed. So when people say, I believe this or I believe that, all you got to do is keep watching them, because they're going to show you with their actions if they actually believe in the thing that they say they believe in. What I've come to experience is that many people say they believe in things, but when it comes down to doing things, regardless of disruption, right? Distraction, right? Negativity, adversity, whatever it is you want to call it, right? Just interference. What I've seen is I've seen those that stay the course, and I see those that fall off. And for me, seeing the ones that fall off lets me know that the thing that they say they believe in, they don't truly believe in, right? You might have somebody that says, you know what, I believe in working out. And there's two different types of people. You're going to have the person that might be on the David Goggins level, right? I'm working out come hell, snow, rain, fire, whatever is happening around me, doesn't matter. I'm getting my workout in. That person has a belief. And then you have your casual workout person, right? That person says that they believe in it, but do they truly believe in it? Is it something that they're willing to do in spite of? That's how you can tell if what you say you believe in, you truly believe. So look, let's talk about that mindset. Why is it that we have a mindset to where we talk more than what we actually do? Well, I submit to you that possibly that's because that is the way that the world of America is set up. America is set up to speak about a lot of different things, but when it comes down to actually doing something, it really never happens, right? So, give you an example. You'll have people that start businesses. The business doesn't work in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they quit. You'll have people that will start multi-level marketing companies, right? To get into those type of things. 6 months, 7 months, first 5 months or whatever, they're all in, right? I'm all in. I'm about it. This is what I am. I believe in this. I believe in the product. I believe in the people. I believe. But something happens to a family member. Funds start getting low. I can tell you guys that disruption always follows intention. I'll say that again. Disruption always follows intention. Meaning what? Meaning that whenever you're intending to do something, please believe that disruption is going to follow that. It has to be that way. Why? Because the world is set up in an ebb and flow. So if you're at a particular space in your life and you're wanting to elevate, then what's going to happen is that as soon as you say, I make the decision, right? Not the choice, the decision, right? The Serde means to cut, day means from. So you're cutting from or cutting off. Day means off or from. So you're cutting off any other choice, right? Any other decision, but the decision to continue to move forward in what it is that you say you believe in, right? So any other decision that you say that you're going to go after, you're saying, I'm cutting that off. You're going that way, regardless of how it looks, regardless of how it feels. I believe that a lot of people fall off from where they're wanting to go due to the fact that they put a difficulty level on it, right? It's too hard, right? Or they say they talk themselves out of it. I don't know if I can do this, right? Those type of things. The reality is that you don't know how hard something is until you try, and the level of difficulty of that thing does not matter. Here's what I know. What you resist persists, right? Meaning that if you're going after something, right, but you're resisting the work that it takes to get to that thing, you're going to stay in that spot, right? You're not going to elevate. It is impossible for you to try to elevate without going through the adversity that it takes to get to the other side, right? You have to experience pain. What is pain? Acronym: perseverance, alignment, innovation, new creation. The first part of that pain, the P, the perseverance. You have to go through something, right? And you have to have the patience to stay in that thing. A lot of us are asking God to get us out of the adversity, out of the fire, and not having the patience to stay in there and allow God's work to work through us and work in us through that adversity. We're wanting that patience We're not having that patience, We're not having that patience that we need to have in order to be the new thing that we need to be, the new creation, right? So you have to go through that. That's the perseverance. There's an alignment factor. Who are you aligned with? Are you aligned with positivity or are you aligned with negativity? There's only two ways to look at things, period and point blank. And I don't care how bad the thing is, right? Somebody might come to the extreme and talk about some horrific act that has happened. Guess what? There's only two ways to look at it. You can look at it from a positive and you can look at it from a negative. I'm not being insensitive to the thing that has taken place. What I'm saying is that if you are still alive and if you still have breath in your body, then you have a choice. You have a decision to make. I'm going to choose to find the positivity in this extremely dark situation. That now becomes a belief system. So now that when life starts lifing, so to speak, you now have something to stand on and say, you know what? I'm somebody that chooses to find the best in all situations, no matter how bad it perceives to be, because there's a lesson in everything, right? So we have to understand that belief has an impact on your behavior and your mindset. That's what I'm speaking to, right? Like, I will know who you are intrinsically by seeing the way that you move extrinsically, right? So I will know how you are internally by seeing how you move externally. If you're somebody that says, this is what I believe in, this is how I deal with all my relationships, how I deal in my business relationships, my personal relationships, and my friendships, I just sit back. I sit back and watch. Is this truly what he believes? Is this truly what she believes? And then when you start to see deviations, you come to understand that that's not the belief system that they have, right? I can give you some stories about beliefs and mindsets and behaviors, right? So in training camp, right, you have a lot of people that get into training camp. They say you just got drafted, right? And, you said everything that you're going to say to the coaches, man, you're going to get a dog out of me. I'm going to be the best decision you ever made. Like, you really feel you're hyped in that emotion, right? You have your opportunity. You're in the NFL, the freaking NFL, man. And then boom, here comes OTAs. This is something I've never done before. The speed of the game looks different. Like, I'm not really understanding these plays. You're getting yelled at by coaches because you're making all these mistakes, right? And then all of a sudden you come back and then you got training camp. And in training camp, this is, for those that don't know, as an athlete, this is one of the most grueling things that you can go through. At least it was when I played. They've changed rules and things like that, but we used to have tour days like the old days. You might hear old guys talk about the old days, right? Where we were full padded twice a day. Banging and hitting and banging and hitting and banging and hitting again, right? Being tried in the fire of adversity. And what I would see is you would hear people talk about how they believe they're the best at this or they believe that they're the best at that. But as soon as that fire started getting turned up a little bit, you started seeing the drop off. You started seeing these players that had all of this potential start to crack under the pressure. You started to see their mindsets change. You started to see them basically quit. The reason why I lasted as long as I did is because I lived by one belief system. One belief system. I just was crazy enough to believe that the only way I could ever lose is if I quit. Everything else was a learning experience. So one of the belief systems that I have is that I can only lose if I quit. Therefore, I never lose, I only learn. I believe that. And guess what? If you look into my life, my actions speak that way. Like, I told y'all, I'm going to come on Gridiron Gains. I'm going to do this for a solid 2 years, right? Every Monday, I'm going to be sitting right here in the studio coming to you guys with different topics. Whether I got one person on or 1,000 people on, it doesn't matter. Why? Because it's a belief system. I truly believe that the things that I'm sharing with people has the ability to shift the financial trajectory of their lives and also change their mentality on things. I believe that. So therefore, I'm going to speak to that. And my behavior and my mindset will speak to that, right? we can get into stories, right? I've seen so many different things, not only being in the business world, but also playing in the sport. I've seen people talk about how they want to change the world. I've seen people talk about how they want to serve other people. At the end of the day, if that is your belief system, again, your actions are going to outweigh your words. Are you somebody that's willing to do the work? Even when you're tired, even when you're by yourself, even when you're alone, right? Are you going to be disciplined, right? Are you going to be able to discover the thing that you need to discover that's going to help other people? I know in my heart of hearts that God has put a piece of himself in every single person, right? He's given everybody the ability to be able to have some sort of power, whatever that power is. And it is up to us to go on a journey of self-discovery so that we can find that power. And when we find that power operates our purpose. And then that purpose formulates our belief, right? So whether, and I'm not saying that, that means that this is always a good thing. I mean, we've seen where people could have some belief systems that can be a detriment to others, but they believe it. Belief is a powerful thing. And one of the most important things that you could ever do that's set next to, that is akin to belief, is have an expectation. When we were in the national championship in 2005, that whole season, there were ebbs and flows. I can remember us playing Oklahoma State, and we were down, 35-14 in the first half. And everybody on the outside is panicking, but everybody inside the Texas Longhorn locker room, we're just relaxing. Why? Because we believe we're going to win. But how do we get to that point? That's the question that should be asked. How do you get to a point where you guys are one of the top teams in the nation and you're getting drugged, right, out in front of your crowd at your house? How do you formulate that belief? Guys, it's through the fire of it. It's through the fire of adversity, man. 5 a.m. workouts, running up and down bleachers, pouring rain or it's cold. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. It doesn't matter what's going on around us. We're just focused like the tip of a spear, man. We're just focused on what it is that we're attacking. And maybe some of us haven't been able to reach the levels and the heights that we want to reach because we're just not focused, right? We're too busy listening to the noise and then responding to all of these different, whether there's allegations or, for my athletes, these media outlets that say these particular things. And we got to say this because this person said that or this media person said that. Listen, let me give you guys some advice, man. One, you don't have enough rocks to throw at every dog that barks. That's one. And two, you need to understand that silence is not weakness, right? Just because I'm silent and I give you the opportunity to talk doesn't mean that you're right, right? Silence is not weakness, man. It's a power. Silence is a power. It's not an escape. Right? We're not running from anything. Silence is not an escape, but it's what? It's an intentional decision to disengage from any disruption or distraction that does not serve our purpose. I've learned some of the greatest things from some really high performance people just by sitting in a room and not saying anything. I've been able to place my belief upon different thought processes to see if there's any cracks in my foundation. And guess what? We're humans. We're growing. Of course, there's going to be cracks in the foundation. But that's the beautiful thing about growth, is that you can identify what that is and you can measure it against whatever your belief system is and determine, hey, is this something that I need to change? Or do I stand fast on this? For me, I pair everything with the scriptures. If I find it in here and it aligns with that, hey, I'm all good for listening to it. If it's a different perspective than that which I stand on, I'll hear you out, but I'm not changing. Because why? Because the scriptures tell me that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Some of us don't have stability. We say we believe in something, but we're not moving in that belief. So we're being bounced to and fro like a boat on wavy water, right? When you think about a building and you think about the foundation has to be set. It has to be set because everything else is built on top of that. If not, then it's just like the people that built those shacks in Africa. Whenever something happens, they all tear down. There are places in the world to where they build things a certain way for it to be destroyed. Could it be possible that our belief system is set up on a shaky foundation, and every time something comes to knock it down, we're already expecting? We've created an expectation of failure. Have you created an expectation of failure? And if so, how do you overcome that? One, you don't run away from it. You embrace it. You embrace the fact that you could potentially fail. And guess what? That's okay. Failure is a part of learning. I failed so many times in so many different arenas. I mean, it's laughable. But at the same time, that's why I'm going to have success. Like, I know y'all seen the Michael Jordan commercial where he talks about how many times he failed, how many shots he's missed and all that. And because he failed, that's why he wins. That's a real thing. What are you scared of? Right? Are you scared of the opinions of other people? Listen, man, majority of the people that speak don't have what it takes to do what you're trying to do anyway. Are you scared of looking foolish in front of people? Well, then why do you care about the opinions of others that much? Like, there's not, like, fear it's not real. And that spirit definitely doesn't come from God. God already told you, listen, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of peace, love, and a sound what? Mind. So if the Bible is speaking to you about your thoughts in your mind, wouldn't it behoove you to dive into that and understand how to strengthen that? Because that's all a belief system is. It's, I truly believe this, I stand on this, and my thoughts and my actions align with this. How do you think Tom Brady wins the most Super Bowls over any team? There's a belief system that he stood on, right? He stood on the culture, creating a culture of his teams to be able to be a team first guy. He stood on hard work. He stood on paying attention to detail. That was his belief system. And how do we know it to be true? Because he left New England, took it to Tampa, and did the exact same thing. Man, winners win. I've had the honor of playing with some of the greatest players that you guys have ever heard of. Brian Dawkins, Troy Polamalu, Antonio Brown. Say what you will with his off-the-field antics. When it comes to football, the man was a monster. Ryan Clark, I always shout my brother out, right? People that you might not know. Jonathan Scott, right? Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. I've played with some of these Hall of Famers. And the one thing that is always consistent with those guys is that they have a strong belief not only in the players that are around them, not only within themselves, but the ability to understand that no matter what happens, we will win. That is a belief system set on expectation. Do you have a belief system that was given to you from others that quite frankly have never won in life? And you are holding on to these things. You might have, some of you guys are 40 years old and haven't reached the heights that you want to reach because you're holding on to something your second grade teacher told you. That's why you can't tell me words don't have power. It goes beyond Proverbs 18 where it talks about death and life being in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. This is, somebody right now will see this and will be thinking about something that a teacher said to them when they were in the 5th or 6th grade that has kept them down when they're supposed to be soaring like an eagle. You believed that false narrative that was given to you, and they set that belief system to you. And you took it as your own. Why? I can't understand that mentality. I have so many people that look at me and say, man, T, I don't know how you're doing all you're doing. I'm like, well, I don't know why you're not doing the most that you can. You have this life. Why not maximize it? The thing that pains me to see is when you see somebody that has so much potential, but just because they're not aligned right, you understand, like, man, they might not ever get to where they could possibly go. And here's the repercussion of that process, of that thought process, of that person not reaching their heights, is that other people fail because of it. How many people are failing because you won't do the thing that you're supposed to do and become the person that you're supposed to be, so that you can then inspire others to do the thing that they're supposed to do and become the person that they're supposed to be? Because that's how God works. He's not getting off his throne and saying, all right, everybody that I gave purpose to, this is what you're going to do. That's not how he works. Anything that you see, this is why visuals are so important. This is why I'm very, very, very stringent when it comes to my children watching television, because anything that you see can easily become a belief, right? If we keep it at 100, when you look in the black community, a lot of the thing that we spend more time on the television than any other nation of people. TV raises our children. And then we wonder why we get the type of kids that we get when they grow up to become, I'm not going to call them men, so when they grow up to become older males. You get brothers that are highly emotional. You get brothers that are extremely lazy. You get brothers that think the world owes them something. I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm saying this is what I've seen. Right? So if this is not you, then you wouldn't have a problem with it, because hit dogs holler. You see brothers that are not very educated, and I'm not talking about school. School teaches you how to be a worker. It doesn't educate you. It's like Myron talks about. It's a cultural hypnotic, system that leads you and lulls you to sleep, so that you won't, reach your full potential. And then you'll come back around and quote Philippians 4:13, talking about I can do all things through Christ. But can you? I know it says you can, but can you? My question is, can you do that? Do you have that belief? What is the thing that is holding you back from you becoming who you're supposed to be? Have we sat down and thought about that? Guys, these are the type of questions that we have to ponder, as we'll never reach the lifestyle that we want. I see the trajectory that I'm moving on, and I already know where I'm going to be. There's no question about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you want to know what happens when you have a belief like that, is that other people see that too, and they have the same belief. They won't be surprised, right? Like when I was in the sports arena, right? As a young child, right? I was somebody that everybody looked at and said, you know what? That kid's going to do something special. Guess what? I appreciate them saying that, but I already knew that. Why? Because my mom set a belief system in my hand. She gave me a book that said NFL greats, and she said, write your name in the book. And that's exactly what I did. And I knew that at that day, at 8 years old, I was going to play in the NFL. I had teachers tell me that I might as well get my degree because making it to the NFL is like putting your eggs in one basket. And I looked at my teachers and said, well, it's a good thing I got one hell of a basket. Sports allowed me to formulate a belief system that wasn't given to me because I didn't have my father in my life to instill that into me. So it taught me what manhood was about through coaches and adversity, right? It taught me how to control my emotions, right? It taught me how to listen to a message and not listen to the messenger. Some of us won't even do business with other people because we don't like the way that person talked to us and we feel disrespected. However, by doing business with that person, it would actually elevate you to a place that would take you out of the stratosphere. But you won't do it because we're so easily offended. The thing I learned in sports is you can say whatever it is you want to say, but when we line up on this line, you know what time it is. Do you have that belief system that particular person can say whatever it is that they want to say? That's fine. But I'm putting in the work. And I know that as long as I continue to put in the work, that I'm going to reach the destination that I want to reach. And all of that stuff that you've been saying will be like a slow whisper. It'll be like a slow, small whisper. You won't even be able to hear it because you'll be elevating so high. And guys, what you got to understand is that the same people that hate on you now will congratulate you later. That's just human nature. Nobody's around when you're building the thing. Right? In the Field of Dreams, they said, if you build it, they will come. That's partially true. They will come after it's built. The ones that are there with you while you're building it, those are the ones that believe in you. Those are the ones that you formulate an alliance with. Those are the ones that you align yourself with. Because those are the ones that you can truly trust because they were there before it became what it was. Right? So you have to align your beliefs, right? Have a target. Like, don't just live life without a plan. Right? Wisdom is the principal thing, but with all I get understanding. What does that mean? Man, look, it's cool to watch YouTube videos and podcasts and Gridiron Gains, especially Gridiron Gains, right? It's cool to watch this stuff and to get motivated and get inspired. Well, hopefully I'm inspiring you. I don't, motivation is a whole nother thing we can talk about later, right? That's cool. But at the end of the day, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to go do the work. And you better make sure, like my man Kingpin with Luxury Cigar said, that you have unwavering belief. Because that's what it's going to take. Like, man, building Stat Financial, so many people told me, are you sure you want to do that? You're taking so much time away from your family. You're doing X, Y, and Z. It's going to cost so much money, blah, 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 blah. Right? What I realize is that the people that are telling me things, that is their fears that they're trying to bestow upon me. And I just don't have any fear. I just don't. Because I'm not going to be somebody that lays on my deathbed with wishes. What does that mean? I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did that, right? I'm not going to be that person. You can do all things through Christ. You absolutely can. Here's my question. Will you? Will you? Will you take the first step? And will you continue to go on even after it's uncomfortable? Do you have a belief, an unwavering belief, strong enough to propel you through? In the book of Mark, chapter 9, we read about a man that comes to Christ, and he has a son. And his son is encapsulated with this demonic spirit. And he asked the Son of God, he says, if you can, heal my son. If you can, the man that turned water into wine, the man that fed the 5,000 with, a loaf of bread and a few fish, the man that walked on water, the man that healed the blind and cured the sick. If you can, no, what Christ told him is, if you can believe, all things are possible to those that believe. So what do we find in that? We find that somebody came with doubt and Christ said, believe. So doubt is going to come. That's going to happen. But at the end of the day, do it anyway. If you're somebody that's scared of something, do it scared. If you're somebody that don't have all the details, do it out the details. If you're somebody where you don't have all of the pieces of the machine working, do it without all of the pieces of the machine working. Do you see the thought process here? Is to do it anyway, because it's in the doing that you gain the learning. And when you gain the learning, you gain the knowing. And when you gain the knowing, you gain the wisdom. That's the way wisdom works. Right? I heard somebody say something that I thought was pretty funny. They said that knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. And wisdom is knowing not to put the tomato in a fruit salad. Right? So what is that person saying? He's saying that you can gain all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it to the right thing, it does you no good. There's people that are constantly learning every single day, but they hardly ever come to the truth of life. You must do the thing in order to become the person that God can trust to give the vision to. That's how it works. When Abraham was tasked to leave his family, he was given a promise. Here was the promise. I am the God of your fathers, right? I'm the one that they spoke about. If you follow me, I will make you the father of many nations. His name was changed. His name, Abram, meant high father, but he didn't have kids. So every time somebody called his name, it was showing his shame. God told him that if you follow me, I'm going to give you a numerous amount of children. And I'm going to give you your own son named Isaac. And then he changed his name from Abram, high father, to Abraham, father of many nations. And then what happened? In order for Abram to become Abraham, he would have to leave what's comfortable to him and follow God into an unknown place that he never knew before. And on that journey, he would acquire all types of adversity and trials and tribulations. But he stayed the course. And God was faithful to his promise. A lot of you guys don't understand that with you doubting yourself, you're actually doubting your creator. You're doubting if he can do the thing that he said that he would do. And he's looking at you like, man, I'm waiting on you. If the belief system that you have, ladies and gentlemen, is not benefiting you, evaluate it. Ask yourself why you believe this thing. And then have the courage to let it go and start to build your foundation on a belief that's going to catapult you into your future. I promise you, you're going to go through a lot of difficult times. However, if you stay the course, I promise you, it gets greater later. And you will develop an aspect of yourself that you never knew that was inside of you. And what you'll start to do is you'll start to enjoy the journey. It'll no longer become about me getting to the destination. You know the destination will be there. You'll start to enjoy the person that you're becoming. You'll start to enjoy overcoming all different types of storms and heavy seas and waves and people doubting you and the unbelief. You'll start to see that doubt start to leave your mind. I'll give you guys this final story before we get out of here, and I'll give you some statements. I'm gonna give you the statements first, right? When it talks about belief, Peyton Manning said this: "The most valuable player is the one who makes the most players valuable. So your belief has the ability to make other people believe. That's the reason why you need to have a belief system that stands on something." Jerry Rice said, "Today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't." Your belief system has the ability to inspire others to go beyond what they ever could ask or think. They see you and they see you constantly going after it. Guess what? It inspires them to say, if he can do it, I can do it. Right? So here's the story. There was the 3 Hebrew boys. And the Babylonian king said, "Listen, every time we play these songs, y'all need to fall down and worship me." They wasn't with it. So he said, "Look, I'm going to give y'all a chance. If y'all don't do what I said, it's a wrap, throwing y'all in the fire." The 3 Hebrew boys stood on their business. They said, "Listen, we're not careful to answer you in this manner." I want y'all to understand, they're talking to a king that's getting ready to kill him. They said, "We're not careful," meaning, look, we're not even thinking about this twice. This is how this is going to work. You're going to throw us in the fire, and when you do, we believe that our God is able to save our lives. If he don't, this is a different type of belief system, y'all. If he don't, we still not falling down and worshiping you. They were cast into the fire. The Babylonians that threw them in the fire was so hot in the cauldron, right? Because this is a big cauldron that they had. It was so hot that it burned up the soldiers that threw them in. Absolutely, my brother. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or Hebrew names, Ananias, Hazaniah, Mishael, right? And so it burned up the men around them. And then the king looked at them in the flames and said, asked one of his soldiers, "Didn't we throw 3 people in the fire?" They said, "Yes, my lord." He says, "Well, why do I see 4 and one like the Son of God?" So then he called them out. And when he called them out, the only thing that had left them was the ropes that they had them tied to. And in that day, everybody in Babylon worshiped the God of the Hebrews. Why? Because they had an unwavering belief in their God. They had an unwavering belief that Christ was going to be the one that saves them. They had an unwavering belief that no matter what happens to their flesh, right? If they lost their lives in that moment, it wouldn't matter because we were still going to stand on our beliefs. When you learn how to do that, that's when you're going to have success. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. That's it. I hope that this helps you. I hope that you guys can understand that that belief system that we're speaking to is also correlated with faith, right? Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Even though you don't see it, you still believe it. When you can walk like that, then you're going to move into a space to where everything is possible. And you will truly believe not only that you can do all things through Christ, but that you will. I hope you guys got something from this. This is Gridiron Gains. Appreciate you for getting on, everybody that was on. Man, I love y'all with the love of Christ. And I hope y'all go out there and become everything that y'all supposed to be, because there's people that are counting on you. Believe me. Tony the Tycoon, I'm out.